So, I haven't filmed a video sitting down for a really long time, although I feel like that's how I start most of my videos, so maybe that's not true. However, I really want to talk today about agoraphobia versus lockdown. We are almost in week 10, I think. It's really been a long time. It's been very hard. There's been so much comparison between agoraphobia and lockdown. Different websites talking about it, different people on Instagram talking about it. I've seen loads of different people talking about it. And I wanted to just say how I felt about it. Like I said, we're almost in week 10 and things are starting to change a little bit. Not sure exactly, I think it's still going to be a long time before we see like really big changes and stuff, but I think things are going to start changing in Scotland soon. And so I really wanted to make this video, and anybody else that has had or has agoraphobia, I would love to hear what you think about this. I'm going to quickly start by talking about my experience with agoraphobia. For those of you that don't know, I know some of you will know my experience if you've watched me before, but I had / have agoraphobia. It started when I was a teenager, when I had left school and I tried going to college, and every time I tried to go in, I studied social sciences, I would get to the college and be like, physically felt so unwell because of panic and anxiety, and I couldn't go in, and I tried so hard, and I'd go and I'd sit in the classroom and I couldn't learn anything because the whole time I was just sitting like waiting for the class to be over, not feeling good. At this time I didn't have the kinds of medication I have now, and I was just completely not well, and so I left college, and when I left college I got worse and I couldn't leave the house at all for 3 months. I didn't leave the house. So that was when I was a teenager. I'm 24 now and I have been progressively getting better. There's still days that are really hard and I still can't do, you know, like go on holiday or like go into town with my friends on the bus and do normal things like everyone else at the moment, but mine's is different for different reasons, and yeah, I don't know how this time is going to really affect that for me. We will have to see. But yeah, it's the hardest thing I've ever gone through in my life, and I didn't feel safe in my own body. I felt like I constantly wanted to escape my own body. It was like fight or flight mode constantly, just always wanting to just like, I just didn't feel okay. And that's something that this lockdown is not like that. And so I keep seeing comparisons between agoraphobia and lockdown, and for me there is no way to compare them. This lockdown is really difficult because we can't see our friends and family. We might know somebody that's been ill or that's passed away from this, and there are so many things about this that are really difficult. It's scary to go outside now for very different reasons than I had before, of not wanting to come into contact with other people, having to wear masks, you know, all the stuff that you already know because I'm guessing you're living through this too. But yeah, it's very difficult, very scary, and it's obviously been, literally everybody you know will have been affected by this. But when I went through this, nobody else was going through this. Nobody else I knew wasn't leaving the house. Nobody else I knew was unable to go travelling or to university, or not able to see their friends. I was going through all of this completely on my own. There wasn't the music nights that we have online since lockdown started. Obviously there's been people doing free meditation classes, calls with all their friends, music nights online, people dropping off messages with each other, people really understanding and trying to get the best for other people, because everybody knows how difficult this is. And there's people that are much worse off and are going through there's people that are going through a much more difficult time than me, that, you know, can't have access to like being able to paint all day, and don't have access to, they don't know what's happening with their jobs, and don't have financial security, don't have emotional support. So I know in this position I am lucky. While it feels really hard and I live on my own with no garden, etc., there's, you know, this time is different for everybody while we're all going through the same thing. But when I went through this, nobody understood why I wasn't leaving the house. Outside seemed safe to everybody else except me. So it's kind of like I was going through this and I knew how dangerous and scary it was outside, but nobody else knew. And so people would be like, come on, this isn't a big deal. My family would kind of make deals with me, like if you go to this place then we'll do this, and you know, even now if I'm doing something that's scary, I have to have like so many different plans in place. So if I go half an hour down the road with my family, somebody will have to not drink at the party so that they can drive me home. If I have a panic attack, I have to have emergency medication with me. You know, things aren't normal in normal life for me in the way they are for other people. But at that really difficult time for me, nobody got it. Nobody was planning music nights so that I could be involved. Of course they weren't. Like they were getting on with their normal lives, and I was just inside by myself. Nobody got it. Even when I was inside, I didn't feel safe still. It was still horrible. I couldn't properly see my ex at the time. I couldn't properly see my friends unless they came to my doorstep. And the biggest thing is I didn't know that this was ever going to stop. When you have agoraphobia, you don't know that it's going to stop. Like, my agoraphobia is still in place in some ways. I'm much better now and I'm able to handle it in a different way. But I thought I was in my parents' house for the rest of my life. I had no idea it was going to change. And with this, we know it's going to change. It's already changed. Next week it's going to start changing. Agoraphobia and lockdown are completely different and they cannot be compared. And I really, really hope all that we've gone through now will help people with agoraphobia. We know and understand how difficult it is being locked in your house, and while people might not get agoraphobia and be like, there's nothing scary except obviously things like coronavirus, I just really hope mental health services can drastically improve, because things like yesterday, this week is Mental Health Awareness Week and we're sharing all these things about being kind and we're doing all these things on Instagram that feel to me a bit like, ugh, like sharing #BeKind is doing nothing for people that have severe mental health problems. I had very severe mental health problems. I still suffer with OCD and anxiety and agoraphobia and emetophobia and generalised anxiety. I know how awful it is to experience severe mental health problems, and #BeKind is offensive. It's not going to help people. We need proper mental health services. We need people to properly research and understand what mental health problems are. We need free counselling services that isn't just CBT. We need these things now. Life with agoraphobia is very difficult and is very different than lockdown. You can't compare the two. In a few weeks we're all going to be going back out again, maybe not in the same ways before, and maybe I know people that are shielding that aren't going to be able to leave their house for quite a while, but they know within a certain amount of months things will start to be better, and people with agoraphobia don't know that. We have this community almost now where we all are going through the same thing, and when things get better we will have all done this scary, hard thing together. Agoraphobia is not like that. And yeah, I don't know the exact point to this video, except agoraphobia is really hard. Lockdown is really hard. They're two very different things. Yes, they both mean that you need to stay inside, or you do stay inside for the most part, but after all this is over, please look into agoraphobia. Please understand it. Please be kind to your friends that say they can't go out. Please be kind to your friends with OCD, with depression, with mental health disorders. Please research their mental health disorder and think before you speak. This isn't me taking away from the fact that things are really hard right now. I know they are. I'm also feeling like I hate this. But agoraphobia doesn't compare to this. They are not the same thing. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have experienced similar things, I would really love to know what you think down below, and whether you feel like there are some similarities between this or not. I would really like to know. And yeah, we are getting there. Things are starting to get better, and yeah, I hope you're doing well. I'll see you soon. Bye.